Training camp is roll along, and we are all over it here on this edition of Seahawks Today. We have the latest from Seahawks training camp as we answer your questions on everything you need to know about your Seattle Seahawks with what they're doing out in Renton. We'll catch up to speed coming up in just a matter of moments. Before we do, I want to make sure you're subscribed to the channel and you have your notifications turned on. Look, folks, I'm actually about to take a couple days off. We're still going to bring you content every single day. And if the Seahawks, let's say, make a move or something major happens while I'm away, we're still going to find a way to bring you content. Even if I got to do a show remotely, I don't care. Subscribe now. Turn on notifications. That way you stay up to date and never miss a moment. Hit that noti bell to turn on notifications so you can stay with the latest happenings in your favorite team throughout all the training camp. Your Seahawks headquarters is Seahawks Today. Subscribe now, youtube.com/SeahawksTV. Doom with a $5 super chat. Bang! Says, do you think Denver would be willing to trade Drew Sanders after this season? I think he could be good under Mike Macdonald. I think he could be very good under Mike Macdonald. I was a big fan of his when he was with the Arkansas Razorbacks and think that he'll have a very fine career there with the Denver Broncos. With that said, I would be surprised if he ends up getting dealt just because how good of a player he is, young talent on a rookie contract and everything. That would be a bit of a surprise to me. Granted, I think in order for that to happen, it had to require some crazy, if you will, of, whether it's him getting banged up or the Broncos not being willing to pay him or something. I mean, a few things would have to happen, but I'd be very surprised if he ultimately got traded. But it's a fair question there, Doom. Thanks for sending that in. Seth writes in, what are the chances against our division rivals? It's been the difference from us missing the playoffs. All right, let's go through them one by one. Let's start with Arizona. I don't think the Cardinals are not any threat whatsoever. All right? I think the Cardinals are going to be improved from what they were last year, but they are not to be taken serious at all. There's no reason why the Seahawks shouldn't sweep the Arizona Cardinals. The Rams are in a similar spot to the Seahawks, and some people would say they have a bit of an edge. Now, replacing Aaron Donald is not going to be easy, but they do have a Super Bowl champion quarterback. They have a Super Bowl MVP wide receiver in Cooper Kupp. They got a star receiver in Puka Nacua that's emerging, and their defense is pretty stout, and they have one of the best coaches in football. Rams aren't going away. I think realistically you hope to split with the Rams. And then there's the big behemoth, the San Francisco 49ers, who come into this year as the favorites in the NFC. I think the most likely thing is you get swept by the Niners. You would hope you can split. But realistically, I'm not worried about the division. And let me explain this. Your goal is to make the playoffs this year. Your goal is to win 10-plus games. Honestly, that's probably not good enough to win the NFC West. Next year is when you're focused on winning the NFC West and the NFC. This year is just about trying to get 10-plus, get a wild card spot, get in the playoffs. That's the goal in mind heading into this year. Crabtree, he's sorry. Sorry, Aaron. What are your expectations for Devon Witherspoon this season? Man, we've talked a lot about Devon Witherspoon here on this channel for the last, several months, if you will, throughout the offseason. He's already Mike Macdonald's favorite player. Mike Macdonald called him the smartest football player he's ever seen before. Devon Witherspoon, I think the sky's the limit for this guy. He was the number 5 overall pick for a reason. They're going to use him in a nickelback role. The idea is that he's similar to what Kyle Hamilton was for the Baltimore Ravens last year. And you look at the statistics that he put up last year. Think about this. Those are really good numbers. It was a Pro Bowl season for him, and that was with missing 3 games, including the very first one of last year. And that's also with missing part of training camp. Remember, he was holding out? Well, now he's going to be around for everything. He's had a great offseason. He's on Mike Macdonald's good side, and he's made it a personal goal. He wants to play in every single game this season. I think he will. I think it's not without of the question for Devon Witherspoon in year 2 to be an all-pro caliber player, to be competing for Defensive Play of the Year. I know that sounds like a lot, but I don't think it's out of the question. I am very optimistic you're going to like what you see from Devon Witherspoon. Do you believe in Devon Witherspoon? Let us know what you think. Type B for believe, D for don't. How are you feeling about Devon Witherspoon? Chime in. The Boz writes in. I love the Boz. Legend himself. Salute. What role do you envision for Jaxon Smith-Njigba this season? The Boz, very good question. You know, it's interesting. If you asked 5 people this question, you might get 5 different answers on what their role would be for JSN. Some people think that he should be a deep threat. Some people think he should be a possession receiver. Some people think he can be the best receiver on this Seahawks team. Others think that he's the number 3 guy behind Tyler Lockett and DK. But you came to me for this question, so I'll tell you what I think. I think that JSN, I think you mix him and match him a bit between putting him on the outside and putting him on the inside. Try to find a happy medium and try to move him around everywhere. Make him a defensive back's nightmare, if you will, for a guy that can do both things. And he's a better vertical threat than he's given credit for. He was at his best last year when he was a vertical threat, so I'm looking for that. I also think that there's no reason why he shouldn't pass Tyler Lockett up on the depth chart to be the Seahawks' number 2 receiver. I think he should be that guy. His catch total was very similar to DK's last year. Only had a few less catches. Didn't have the yardage that DK did. I think JSN, there's no reason why he shouldn't have over 1,000 yards, 7 touchdowns, 7 8+ catches. I think JSN goes off this year and becomes the guy the Seahawks were looking for with that number 20 overall pick that they used on him last year. Is JSN better than Tyler Lockett right now? Hot take? I think he is. I'm buying all the stock on JSN right now. Are you doing the same? That's not a knock on Tyler Lockett. I love Tyler. Don't get me wrong. He's one of my favorite Seahawks ever. The torch is getting passed, though, folks. Y for yes, N for no. Let us know if JSN is better than Tyler Lockett right now. Byron Murphy jerseys on sale now. Add a 9 to that 1, and you can get yours at chatsports.com/Murphy. Got the home jersey, the road jersey, the alternate throwback uniform, and we have free shipping available as well. Go to chatsports.com/Murphy to get yours today. The link is in the comments and description of today's video. Also, at that link, chatsports.com/Murphy, you can see all of the other Seahawks gear we're selling as well. Go check it out. See for yourself. Chatsports.com/Murphy to get yours today. Got time for a few more questions here. Let's start with Chad. Chad wants to know, who is a cut candidate from other teams that would be a fit here? That is a very good question, Chad, when it comes to cut candidates that could be a potential fit around the NFL. Right off the top of my head, of just names that come to mind for you here, I'm looking at the linebacker spot. Go to the Chargers. Chris Rumpf could be a possibility. If you're looking defensive end, maybe Peyton Turner from the New Orleans Saints could be a possibility. Those are the 2 guys that come to mind immediately. I know some people are going to bring up the name James Bradbury from the Philadelphia Eagles at the corner spot. I don't think the Seahawks are in the corner market necessarily, although one could argue that Bradbury might be an upgrade from Trey Brown or Mike Jackson, but those are the names I'd look out for. Marshawn Lattimore, also certainly a possibility, kind of for the same reasons we talked about with James Bradbury, that although he could be cut by his team he's on now, you might think of that as an upgrade from Brown or Jackson potentially, but we'll see as far as that goes. Last one, Just Life wants to know, what is one team that is overrated and one team that is underrated? A very good question. I'm very high on the Atlanta Falcons. I think they're underrated. I think they'll win the NFC South and will be a contender for the NFC this year. I think with what they added with Cousins, with their receivers, and I think Kyle Pitts is going to step up. Bijan Robinson's going to step up. That offense is going to be fantastic. I think the Falcons are an underrated team. An overrated team, the Buffalo Bills. Sell everything in the Buffalo Bills. My hot take, and we can check the tape on this after the season ends, but my hot take is that the Bills win less than 10 games, miss the playoffs, Sean McDermott gets fired. I think Sean McDermott's a fraud. I wouldn't want him as the head coach of my team. I thought he should have been fired last year. What has he done? What has he done with all that talent, a franchise quarterback, and they have not even won an AFC championship game? Sean McDermott's got to get out of here. Thank God he's not the Seahawks head coach. I'll take Mike Macdonald, even though he's never coached a game, over Sean McDermott anyway. So there's your answer there. Subscribe now to Seahawks Today. Turn on notifications. Stay up to date with your Seattle Seahawks. We got you covered. YouTube.com/SeahawksTV.